and how to make best use of that. So the separate has to be established for that. Weather is getting changed. Then we have to be environmentally very friendly. We cannot be damaging the environment. Eco-friendliness is of highest importance. Green, going green, growing green is another important aspect. Like that. So I am going to delve around only my topic of discussion, that is 43% of our GDP for education. Government is planning to increase that to 6% of the total GDP for education purposes. So what all things will come under that? One part of that only is going for research and innovation. Presently, out of this 4.43%, only 0.69% is allocated for research and innovation. Nobody cares much, but there must be a linkage. Otherwise, the result cannot be useful for industry. Though straight away all research may not be immediately useful for the industry. For example, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, immediately it may not fetch result. But in the long run, it is going to help us a lot. Interdisciplinary research, including humanities, social science research also, to be engulfed. Because we cannot say that that part, they are not doing directly anything useful for this particular isolate. Let us isolate them. That kind of attitude is not good. It is going to be completely inclusive. Science, social science, and funding the research by NSF. You should be really good at what you do. Then only there is at least you will have a small chance of getting that NSF funding. Similarly, this National Research Foundation is also planned in similar lines, and through the Act of Parliament, they want to bring this National Research Foundation into existence. So this is going to be a long-term, sustainable, and rapid growth path for research and development in the country. Until and unless, I told you, research is not to be started and closed. It has to be a sustainable research, that particular field. For example, one university is doing a research in the area of solar energy, means next year students should do something continuously, and more students should join and start from where the other person has stopped. Like that, continuity must be there, and it should be sustainable also. People will do continuously do something better than what their predecessors have done. That only is going to fetch fruit. Otherwise, people will be reinventing the wheel, which is not useful for the country. Everybody will say, let me get my degree, I have done my work. But you have done what you have done, the other person has already done. So that should not be the case. Government has only limited funding across the world. If you take any country, nobody wants to spend on something which is already there. They want to make students and researchers undertake something which is going to be totally useful for them, and produce some new output which is going to be much more beneficial for the world as a whole. That's what they are planning. So in order to have a long-term sustainability and rapid growth, such kind of R&D is only going to be promoted. That is the main aim of National Research Foundation. So NEP aims at interdisciplinary research to increase the resource efficiency in terms of men and material. So, as I told you, National Research Foundation, NRF, is going to be established as an act of parliament with credibility and legal value. That is very important. Then only it can promote research. And annual grant will be to the tune of rupees 20,000, approximately 0.1% of our GDP as of today. So this is going to be the kind of spending which we are going to do in the coming years. And they also have a plan to increase the spending every year after year. So considering the level of development, it is given, there will be definitely a mechanism for seeing whether this money spent is giving a return on investment. That also will be seen. This NRF is mainly for providing funding across disciplines, and it will provide linkages between various stakeholders like researchers, industry, government, etc., etc., etc. So all the stakeholders, there will be kind of linkages it will establish, and monetary support will go for all alike. But mainly it will go for students in the universities. But the students will be allowed to make use of research facility in ISRO, research facility in new power plants, research facility in other national centers of CSIR labs and so on, so that investing in a similar kind of setup in a university is not required. Something research experimental setup in various places of the same type is going to be coming out of that. And we also have 5-year integrated program where you will be getting your degree only after 5 years. Yeah, but you will be getting 2 degrees, your bachelor's degree as well as master's degree. And, research will be one of the main core areas for such integrated 5-year program. Pursuing a master's degree or a master's degree means 3+2 or a 4+1 degree. That is the minimum requirement for going for PhD program. That's what the government plans. Then NEP also proposes to. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
How much more time I have? Do I have sufficient time?
So we are having up to 7:30, sir.
Okay, thank you. NEP also proposes to discontinue the existing MPhil program. You know what an MPhil program is. Previously, many institutions offered that as a correspondence course, and it is something after master's degree and before a PhD program. And government found that, or the educational policy makers found that it's a colossal waste. All people are to be given a MPhil degree. 1 year is very slow, less period, and it is not doing the required level of imparting of education to the required level. So the government decided to stop MPhil program. Initially, it was stopped across correspondence colleges. Then now it is also being stopped in universities. Now all major universities are allowed to continue with MPhil program in their campus. For example, Kerala University is having MPhil program. If you take Bharatiyar University, it is having MPhil program in the campus. You take Madurai Kamaraj University, but everywhere they have MPhil program in the campus as a department program, but not on a distance education basis. That they have stopped. That also the government is rethinking and planning to remove, because the main aim to make the youth trained, skilled and innovative is not achieved because of the MPhil program. And that is the reason why the government is unhappy that the policymakers are unhappy that the students coming out with a degree in MPhil are unable to solve the contemporary problems arising in the social, environmental and economical fields, which is the main idea behind floating an MPhil program. That is not being achieved. So why not wind it up? Now we have a mission Nalanda and a mission Takshashila. What are these? These are the two types of institutions which we are going to have. One is in Mission Nalanda, 100 research-based universities and 500 high-quality universities are planned by 2030. That is what the major plan is. So this is to bring richness and diversity rooted in the Indian system. See, we are doing research. The Western universities are also doing research. When we have many things found from within. You know that we were very good in maths. Our area scientists like Aryabhatta and other people, astrology and other areas were very so strong that astronomy, such kind of fields were so top that even today it is being appreciated by scientists across the world. So we have richness and diversity rooted in our Indian system. And so we want to showcase to the world that we are also not falling behind. We also have quality research which can lead to world-class interaction possibilities. So, now to bring a global reputation for Indian graduates, this is very much required. Unless our institutions are world-class, the products out of that means a degree holder coming out of such universities also will not be having that much demand in the world. So, we want to launch more universal global products, which will be that will be absorbed by companies across the world at salaries on par with their Western counterparts. That's what we are aiming at. So that much quality research has to reach India. See, so far we were having only research whatever is being done here. and whatever old technology they were using 10 years back, that only comes as a technology transfer to here. So such kind of system is going to be completely, we are going to think independently. We will have all sorts of technology available, and there will be research in all areas of new areas, which will help us in implementing that. And students graduating out of such research program will be doing a lot of innovativeness in our world-class products in the Indian soil itself. That's the aim of the experiment. And that too, at a much more cheaper rate, our products, such innovative products, will be costing much less than what our Western counterparts bring for. That's the aim of the experiment. So I hope you understood the meaning of Mission Nalanda. That is 100 world-class universities and 500 high-quality universities by 2030. Then we have Mission Takshashila, where we are planning at least one top-notch residential leave study and make use of the university system for doing the research or studies. And at least one such institute will be there in every district in the country. Every district. Kerala is having 14 districts. So every district will be having at least one such institute which is catering towards such need. And that institute can be either private or government. It doesn't matter. But there will be government, such a top-notch institute, residential institute is available in every district in India. They are mainly going to be undergraduate, autonomous, degree granting institute only. Don't think that they are going to be having top-notch research-oriented university. They are, without moving much further away from my city where I stay, accessibility, not increase the accessibility of students living in villages and urban area alike. Every district having one such institute means it will be easy for them. Accessibility is increased. That's the aim. So this would provide greater academic space and credibility to each high quality institution and promote greater dedication towards facilitating research. So as a conclusion, see, my first part of the presentation is going to be over with this slide. Now I will continue with what is innovation. As a part of this topic, if I don't delve around innovation in detail, you are going to gain anything much. My aim, I am getting a chance to talk to a few students who are doing core engineering as their major, and until and unless I don't tell them by making full use of the opportunity I got about innovation, my lecture is not going to be complete. And let me see what best I can do for that in the area of innovation. Vibrant Knowledge Hub. The aim of the Vibrant Knowledge Hub with principles of access. I told you accessibility is very important. If is there, I have to travel 500 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers. That was the state of affair long time back. Now, universities are brought very near, closer to your home. That's the aim of the experiment. Every district is going to have one top-notch institute. That is the aim of the experiment. The education is not going to come near you. With internet and accessibility increase, that is all. This is going to put the real face-to-face education also at easy access for students. That's the aim. Then affordability. As I told you, long travels, universities in the United States, England, that was the state of affair long time back. There is no way by which one can go for higher education within the country. You have to definitely go to another country for doing so. So that was the state of affair. Today's situation has changed a lot. Accountability. What I am supposed to do, am I doing that? There must be a check. Who will check that? There is something called Higher Education Council. Council for Higher Education is there. The structure is going to be changed. HEC, I will tell you about the structure also. There is going to be National Higher Education Council of India is going to be there, which will supervise all higher education institutions. Then you also going to have one grants, one separate entity for monitoring the research grants provided to higher educational research. That one apex body is going to be there. Then you are also going to have to oversee grants, it is there. Then oversee undergraduate education and its quality, general education and its quality, that's also going to be there. Higher Education Council of India will take care of both graduate education and undergraduate education, but general education will be taken care of by another body coming under this. So this is the plan of the planned structure for this NEP 2020 introduction. So our aim is to be on par with best systems across the world. So what will happen if we implement the NEP 2020 in the best possible successful way? 50% gross enrollment is planned, 26.3% as on 2018, with provision for multiple exit and entry. I will explain to you what is multiple exit and entry. 50% gross enrollment means there will be more number of students going for the higher education program. Now only eligible, out of the eligible, 26.3% only are going for such programs. We want to increase that to 50% of the eligible people going for higher education. That much facility will be provided, that much opportunity will be given through creation of education institutions and more required seats and so on, with sufficient teachers and so on. So multiple exit and entry means all students are not equally, privileged to have top class education, because many are hailing from poor background, and there are also facilities for loans are there. Even then, it is not completely possible to do all the education in one stretch and come out of the institute. Very difficult. Even for a person who is earning really well, finds it difficult without their loan to pay for their studies. So in this multiple entry exit system, a certificate is given after first year. If you complete certain courses, a certificate is given. Then second year courses are completed means a diploma will be given. In third year of the course, then you will be awarded a degree. Or it may even happen in the case of at the end of 4 years. So because there are 3-year degree programs as well as 4-year bachelor's degree program. That's the reason why it is stated like that. MPhil courses will be completely discontinued. Higher Education Council of India will be the regulatory authority for higher education in India. All higher education institutions will come under one umbrella except medical university and law university. They all will be run by the same authority except these two. GDP allocation is going to be increased to 6% from 4.43%. I hope you have understood the intricacies of NEP 2020 from multidisciplinary research and innovation point perspective. Now, my second part of the presentation, I will leave room for you to ask me questions. Whatever possible, I will answer. And if I am unable to answer some questions, definitely I will note down such questions, and the coordinator of the team can post those questions again back to me over email or something, so that I can get the corresponding correct answer for those questions and reply you back. So what is innovation? So the aim of innovation is to develop some ideas from mind, and it should go to market. Not some ideas. It should sell in the market. People must be ready to spend their money to buy that innovation, the product which is coming out of innovation. So an innovator must be an obsessive problem solver. Drucker said, an industry which is not capable of innovation is doomed to be extinct. That means it will not exist for more time. So innovation is the key for corporate sustainability. If a corporation has to exist, and it has to be definitely ensure that innovation is happening there, otherwise it will be extinct. Won't be there. Today something you did, tomorrow you are doing something more on that, so that that same product is modified form is coming out. If you are not doing modifications from time to time on the same product, people will not buy it. See, today, one example I will tell you. I happen to work in Hindustan Motors in West Bengal. Hindustan Motors, I don't think any of you have seen ambassador cars. Here, a few numbers are running on the road. A day was there when we only see ambassador cars on the road. 30, 40-year-old person definitely would have seen that. But today's generation, 20 years, 22 years, has less chance of seeing such cars on the road. So I happened to work there. So there, the problem was that the company was not ready to go for any kind of upgradation of the product. New technologies came, innovations happened, the cars became window, automatically operated windows came into existence, but still they were using the winding, human manual winding for their windows, and they were using only everything it will be like a Jeep only. So softness won't be there, or feather touch won't be there for anything. So such kind of products won't sell for time in the market. They very well knew that. Neither the management nor the team of people who are working there were interested in making modifications to the existing product or go for innovative solutions. They never wanted that. They were seeing the Japanese cars, which were kind of competition for them. At that time, their thinking was that even if they make spare parts, another 20-25 years, they will easily survive. This was the kind of statements which were given by the people who are working there used to tell. But that was a kind of myopia, I would say. And that did not last long. Though Isuzu, for which only they hired us, they brought new engine to fix in Ambassador Japan. Collaboration they went. Kids came from completely knocked down. Kids came from Japan. We all assembled that. But still, the company could not survive because it was not doing the innovation properly for their product. And many other new companies like Nissan, Toyota, all these companies were getting permission to manufacture in India also. So naturally, that product became extinct and nobody continued to use it. It was so tough and hard, and the cost was also immensely high when compared to a 2,80,000 rupees was the 55,000 rupees was the cost of a Maruti car at that time by Suzuki, in collaboration with Suzuki. But when they brought out the car, it was 85,000, and that was known as the common man's car. When the common man's car was launched, everybody was after that. And the market for Ambassador cars and Fiat cars, we used to call it Premier, President, and Padmini, all this became extinct. And also, you know about Jack Welch. Jack Welch said, General Electric Company, Jack Welch said, unless you learn and translate and make innovation happen, that is your advantage. If you are not having that, you will not have any competitive advantage over others, and you will fail one day miserably. So that is very much true. Yes. Systems thinking. You know that two people, their mind, 1 + 1 is not equal to 2, something more than that. If I allow two people of two different disciplines, mechanical engineer, electronics engineer, sit together, mechatronics is happening. If I ask you what is mechatronics, is it more than 1 + 1? Will nod their head and say it is more than 1 + 1. Definitely, because that synergy is going to give you something much more than these 1 + 1 people. It is going to give more than 2 people. Similarly, if more number of disciplines based on requirements, if they meet together to design a product, design a process, and come out with the product, definitely it's going to be state of the art, and it is going to have so much of reduction in price, and world-class product will also come out. That's the aim of the experiment, and it will expose root causes, and it will be easy for them to master the complexity. That's what Peter Senge said, author of the 5th discipline. See, mind should be allowed to free. No, nothing should stop you from thinking. You will be told that you are having all technologies available in this world as of now. Go and think ahead and say, this is the new thing I want. We will get you the best. Don't think that there is any restriction for you. Company should come forward and say, tell their R&D team. See, in India, we are having R&D. I am talking about from 20, 25, 30 years back when we used to work in corporates. Definitely, what was told was that R&D departments existed in industry, but they existed mainly for evading taxes, because whatever money you spend on R&D, tax rebates they used to get huge amount. So what they do is they do some factory setup and say that it is part of R&D requirement, and they use it for manufacture, and they get a lot of concession on that. For that purpose only this was used. And they used to spend very little money on R&D. And all technologies, they got it from outside. And whatever technologies we got were much inferior than what the other country was using. Whenever some technology becomes obsolete, that only is shared between two countries. Even that is not a problem with any country. Nobody wants to spare the state of the art thing to another country. Don't part with that easily. Until and unless I am confident that it will not be used for any dangerous purposes. So, how can you ensure that my company, you are at the end of a long drawn, expensive development project? That means you have spent a lot of money and you are at the end of that expensive development. So that is the point where there is a tendency for you to be idle. So don't do that. You have to be innovative. You are trying to perfect the old to inventing. See, value shift is happening in the industry by not perfecting the old. You have to leave that perfecting the old. Whatever perfection you make in the old is not going to be a substitute for inventing new. So inventing new has to happen. A separate team should work on that. And for them, you have to ensure that all latest technologies are available at their fingertips. And if it's not available within the factory, you should ensure them that is going to be made available to them. Nothing should be a constraint for them. Share price of the company remains stagnant. That means the company is not going to go for anything new. See, when the share price of a company goes up, when the company gets a new project, when the company launches a new product, this will be there like that for some time at least. Though many steps are planned, continuously we are trying to eradicate poverty. Definitely, it's not possible. So it will take some time. During that time, what is the strategy of the company which you are working for? How to cash and how to make people living in the poverty base use your product. You should bring accessibility to your also. Sit over the refrigerator in every South Indian household. This was the statement made by a source of productivity, innovation and growth. But I tell you one thing, though many people in the US and Europe, they like doshas and idlis, once around multiple branches across the world, not too many companies are there which has captured the entire Western market. A lot of potential is there for the Indian breakfast had by many more weightage than what a multinational corporation is telling. Huge market for India because all the young people are asking for world-class things at Indian prices. That's what we want. Not happy with what we have. We want something what is available in the USA to be available here next morning. And we also want world-class products. That is the beauty of the Indian market. We don't want to be remaining in the old way of living and with old quality products and so on. We want latest products at world-class products at Indian prices. You know the India is connected. That is very much there. Are you there? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Connected with the rest of the world. Not only in terms of IT and so on, which we hear every now and then. You are also connected of a flow of ideas. For example, other than IT also, we are having so much of collaboration. And one example I will tell you, many of our Ayurvedic products are being sold in other countries. Our basmati rice is patented in the United States. Our basmati rice we could not patent in our country. This is what I heard. We have to ensure the truth in this sentence. This basmati rice was patented in the United States of America.